Welcome. I'm Dean McKnight, and this is another edition of Our Town. We're taking back our neighborhoods facilitated by Operation Our Town, and today we're going to talk about Blight. But first, perhaps another explanation of the mission of Operation Our Town. Operation Our Town brings together businesses, social aspects, and economic aspects to concentrate on cleaning up the neighborhood in terms of blight, in terms of crime, and just making this a better place to live. It's a great organization. This morning I'm joined by Randy Feathers, president of the Booker T. Washington Center. Randy, welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming.
No problem.
Tell me a little bit about what you do with the Booker T. Washington Center, Randy.
I'm the president of the Booker T. Washington Revitalization Committee. It's a group that we formed probably 3 years ago. And we deal with, our first project was the Booker T. Washington basketball court, and we're currently working on the whole complex up there.
That's terrific. How many people are involved in this?
Well, we just had a meeting last night, and I think we had about 15 people, which I think is great because I get the same 15 people, sometimes more every month, and they're just very dedicated people, and I appreciate it.
That's wonderful. And tell me how it sounds like a recreation center. How does that eliminate blight?
Well, in my other life, I work for drug law enforcement, so I see the blight that goes on in neighborhoods up in that particular area, which is 19th Street, 12th, 13th Avenue. A lot of drugs being sold around those neighborhoods. It's a low-income neighborhood up there. And we were able to tear down some houses there and some buildings, and we're building a complex up there that's going to make it just a beautiful area for that community up there.
That's wonderful. The Booker T. Washington Center goes back a long way. I remember when I was a kid, we played basketball and we got together. Tell me about some of the organizations that are helping you to maintain this project.
Well, one of the biggest ones was NAACP. Don Witherspoon is a fantastic man. He's the president of that organization, and that's actually how it started. Was Don seeing me at the courthouse one day, and we had a discussion. We were able to get this group started and really going full force on it. The NAACP has really been the prime organization to start this program. But Operation Our Town came on early in the organization. They gave us the startup money. And without Operation Our Town, I'm not so sure we would have got off our feet. We just needed a little bit of money to start off, get things organized, and then we took it from there.
I confess that when I started thinking about blight, I was really thinking about the community and the streets, but isn't that a revitalization project? I mean, the Booker T. Washington Center, did I read, is it a new building, tell me what's happening to
What it's going to be is, we started off with a basketball court that was falling apart, completely falling apart. It was uneven, the boards were falling down, the rims were falling down, the fence around it was falling down too, and that's when Mr. Witherspoon came to me. So let's see if we can get some rims up there, some basketball, and that kind of how it started, very small. We were able to start on that particular corner, put a whole new basketball court in there, all new fencing, landscaping, sidewalk. It looks beautiful up there. And from there, we took it on to a next level. We bought properties around the basketball court on each side and up above. And we're putting in 2 different parks. We're putting a passive park for adults up above the basketball court, and then we're putting a real nice big playground off to the side of the basketball court.
That's terrific. When you mention basketball courts, one of the greatest basketball players I ever played against, Henry Lee, is from up in that area, and is he still involved?
I see Hank all the time. I see him at the building too, working out, and he's still in great shape. I played basketball against Hank too.
He's something, man.
There's a lot of players that come from that area up there, and that's what's kind of made it special. I mean, Doug West, professional up there, Danny Fortson from up there, Curtis Miller, who works right here in this building, played up there, and it's just a fantastic neighborhood up there, a lot of history.
Randy, I have this fear that too often we grow older, as I have, and we look at young people and we see their names in the paper, things that they've achieved and what they've done, and we say, wow, aren't they wonderful? And we forget that somebody had to start them.
Oh, absolutely.
Somebody had to give them a little nudge and encourage them and give them a place to meet and socialize, and that's what you guys are doing. I'm going to have to read these names because I was so impressed. These are some of the sponsors that have helped economically with what's going on over there. Representative Rick Geis, CDBG Funds, Goodman Trust, NAACP, Congressman Bill Schuster, LS Fiore Corporation, Mount Aloysius College, Bavarian Hall, True Value Hardware, City of Altoona, Central Blair Park and Recreation, Leadership Blair County Class of 210, Central Pennsylvania Community Foundation, County of Blair, U.S. Food Service, Beating the Odds, and it goes on and on. This is what Operation Our Town is all about. I'll bet you that some of these people would never realize that need if someone hadn't organized it and got them started. And now, tell me about these two parks. What is a passive park?
The passive park, it's not like people are going to be up there sleeping. It sounds like you
Well,
go up there and take a nap, but it's more for the adults. I mean, they have some workout equipment we're going to have up there that you can do like different exercises, and plus it's just going to be a beautiful landscaping up there. And I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but it overlooks downtown Altoona and the cathedral. And I say all the time, it's the best view in the city to sit up there. And you talk about Blight and revitalization. I talked to the mayor of Altoona and the councilman. One of the things that we like, it's when you come into 17th Street, I mean, it's going to be visible up to the left. I mean, when we bring people in here to invest in our city, it'd be nice to show them a nice park on the way and a drive-through to show them what we're doing and how this is a great place to live, and it could be a great place for somebody to invest in this area.
Randy, I'll tell you something else about that neighborhood. Occasionally, my wife and I just like to drive around. This was our home. We were born and raised here. And there is some outstanding architecture in that area.
Yep.
Some of those magnificent old homes.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that all this plays in together to say, let's keep them looking nice. Let's think about saving those old architectural gems.
Broad Avenue, you can just go down Broad Avenue. It's beautiful to build.
Oh,
the
my
houses
goodness,
along
yes.
Broad Avenue.
There's one up about 14th Avenue or something, and I don't know, maybe 18th, 19th Street, that it just takes my breath away. It's gorgeous. That's in a corner. Tell me about other projects. What do you have planned for the future?
Well, right now we're hoping, not hoping, we are going to finish this park by June of this year. And this is all three parks will be completely finished. It's going to be gorgeous up there. It's a complex. Once we're done with that, we hope to move on to another project. And we're actually looking for ideas from the community for our next project. If anybody has any ideas, please get a hold of us. You can get a hold of us to the Rec Commission, Mike Hofer, the executive director over there. We're looking to move on to another project. This project was a 3-year project. I mean, these things are expensive. It takes time to gather money. It's not like we got one big check for a couple $100,000. I mean, you read the list of people. I mean, it was a lot of people coming together to help us achieve this goal.
Tell me about what suggestions do you have? If I'm just watching this show and I wanted to get involved, how could I help?
Well, I think that we go back to our park, and we've seen this already because we've started the park with the basketball court first, so we kind of see the future. We got community involvement in that park. There's no vandalism up there. There's no graffiti up there. That community have really taken that park on as their own, and we hope they're going to do that with the other two parks. So just getting involved with your community and taking care of what's there, that's the first thing. But there's all kind of volunteer opportunities out there, not just with my group, not just with Operation Our Town. There's volunteer. This city, that's what's great about this city, the volunteer help we have out there.
So besides money, I could volunteer my time. If I couldn't afford to give you a monetary contribution, I could volunteer my time or come up there.
Absolutely. And that's what we're seeing with the older people. We have a lot of older community, and our older people are just have so many life experiences like yourself that step forward and give back to their community with their knowledge that they're experiencing, and we're very fortunate in that.
Now tell me, besides Dawn Witherspoon, I know some people up there that have a real interest in the young people and making. I know you can't give me everybody's name, but are there a couple other people that just kind of stand out from their?
Well, they all stand out. I'm kind of going to pass on that because I'm afraid I'm going to miss somebody, because my group, we have such a diverse group that everybody has their talents and stuff. I don't want to start mentioning one name because I'm afraid I'm going to miss somebody, because everybody in my group is so important to us, each individual, and we'd be here all morning me naming them all. But as we have, I think Donna Gordy one stands out because everybody knows Donna. I mean,
yeah.
Donna's faithfully been with us. I mean, she's a leader in the community. That's one named Mitch Cooper. I mean, I could go on, but I don't want to go on because there's
How
so
about
many.
neighborhood people? Charlie Ditcher.
Charlie Ditcher is one of our group.
Charlie played football with me. He was a good football player.
I bet he could hit. He's a big man.
Oh, he was a wide out, as I remember.
Wide,
yeah,
he's wide now. Yeah.
But he came to a little luncheon and gave us a lecture on what was happening up there and invited us to participate.
That's right. Charlie's been great. You know, there's another guy, retired, come back to his community, give back. I mean, his family has a legacy in this community.
Oh, absolutely.
A legacy. His sister, Mrs. Johnson, who we're going to name the park after, by the way. You know, the whole family, the Ditcher family, is. And he's kind of the mayor up there too. He keeps eye on the park. He lives.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Well, he could do that.
He could do that. Yeah, he'll get your attention.
I think he was in special forces for like 20 years.
I believe that. Yeah.
He could be like one of those guys on television.
Yeah.
So tell me, you're with the governors. Tell me what your job is that you do for a living.
What I do for a living, I get paid for?
Yeah.
I work for the Attorney General's office. I'm a regional director in this area. Central Pennsylvania, and my primary focus is drug law enforcement.
Okay, now, and when they talked about forming Operation Our Town, what was your reaction?
Well, it was a natural for me. I grew up in this area. I was a Prospect boy, so I spent a lot of time up on the hill there in those neighborhoods, and I knew how important it was to have a park to grow up and have friends and build character and work with the neighborhoods. So I knew how important it was to get that involved. And plus with my job, I've seen some of the devastation with drugs and kids, and I knew at that particular time, 3-4 years ago, we were literally in a battle for our kids because we had a lot of out-of-town drug dealers coming in, and they were recruiting these kids for these gangs, the Bloods, the Crips. So we were really competing with these gangs. I mean, if we didn't get our kids on the right path, give them parks where they can grow and prosper, I mean, they were going to go the other way with the gangs, so I knew it was important.
One of our shows, we talked about the influence of gangs, and I was amazed. First of all, I was amazed at what was happening, and secondly, I was amazed at the community's reaction to it, that people were saying, we don't want this to happen in our community, in our neighborhood.
That's right.
And so how does the Governor's Justice Commission fit into that kind of thing?
Well, the Attorney General's office, obviously, we work with the communities, and this community here is fantastic. You hit it right on the head. When they had these problems with the shootings and the gangs, I mean, this community just said, no, it's not happening here. It wasn't just law enforcement. It was the whole community, and Operation Our Town was back, the kind of organizing the army behind that.
It makes you feel proud to be from out there.
Absolutely. Like I said, I work all central Pennsylvania, and I see the difference in Blair County as other counties. We have leaders here, we have community people, we have people in general from Blair County that just are not going to put up with things.
I've lived in different states and been with different communities, and when my wife and I were nearing retirement, I was so glad that I was in my hometown because the quality of life here is outstanding. And I encourage people, get involved. Get involved in your community. Come out and help Operation Our Town. You've already heard the statement. It's not about money. It's about you. Coming forward, volunteering, spreading the word. We're taking back the neighborhoods. This is about us and our life and our society. And I don't want people to come through here and say, as they've done with other towns, that I don't want to live there because crime is rampant and I can't walk the streets. This is a pretty nice place to be. And a lot of it has to do with people like yourself, Randy, that have given back, and people that have. How did you ever get involved in this in the first place?
In Operation Our Town?
No, in that whole
Booker T.
drug.
The drug. Well,
I mean, that's a career.
It was a career choice. I think I always wanted to be a policeman. My uncle was an Altoona policeman, Bernie Ziegler. You might even remember Bernie.
Sure.
Yeah, that was my uncle. So he was sort of my mentor, and I got involved in law enforcement, and this kind of happened naturally as far as drug law enforcement.
And then did you work for a police department, or did you go straight to the?
No, I started my career with the Washington, D.C. Police Department, and then I came home. Like I said, I love Altoona. I came home, worked for the Altoona Police Department with your brother.
Yeah.
I worked there for about 6 years, and then with the Attorney General's office for the last 24.
That's wonderful. And then you moved over and you started this operation. And how big an area do you cover?
15 counties, which is basically central Pennsylvania, almost from the New York state line, almost to Maryland, except for Bedford.
So you see it all.
I see it all, yep.
Randy, I'll tell you what, my heart goes out and my thanks goes out to you and the people that have worked so hard in that community around the Booker T. Washington Center. It's so easy to forget. You know, you move into a different neighborhood and all of a sudden you forget that neighborhood. Right. And I'm sure there are people in that neighborhood that don't think about my neighborhood, right. But we really need an umbrella.
That's right.
We need to think about everybody.
That's right.
And I see these young people, and I look at this school that we're in here. It brings all these generations together, mm-hmm. and the community together, and we're one.
That's right.
And you're one of the best.
Well, thank
Randy,
you.
I thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Some banks say they're part of the community. Mainline National Bank helps build it. Volunteering, financing homes and business, being there for our neighbors when they need us. Since 1944, it's what we do. Operation Our Town has helped to reduce drugs and crime in our community. Mainline National Bank encourages you to take back our neighborhoods. Go to wearecentralpa.com and click Operation Our Town to learn more.
Yes, now is Matt Lake. Matt is a pastor of the 2nd Avenue United Methodist Church and a gentleman who I'm most familiar with because of his reputation in the community. He's just doing a terrific job. Matt, thank you. Nice to see you here.
It's good to be here.
Tell me a little bit about what you're doing down there.
Well, we're trying to do a variety of things on a number of different fronts, but one of the things that we're most excited about right now is some of the actual physical work that we're trying to do in the community. A number of years ago, we started going on our own mission trips out to the state of Indiana. And as we continued to do that year after year, people were excited to go on those mission trips, but they started to ask the question, it's great to go all the way out here to the state of Indiana and serve people out there, but what can we do in our own local area? And so as some of that conversation started to build about 4 years ago, a group of people came back from that mission trip from the state of Indiana and said, we want to do some work here in Altoona. And so I remember about when we started 4 years ago, during the first week that we tried to make an emphasis on this, there were all of 12 of us who kind of got together for the week and we're looking around and we're like, what can we do to help our neighbors? And from that group of 12, we literally started working on some of the sidewalks around our church. We started cleaning up some of the weeds and garbage and trying to remove some graffiti and things like that. And from that, there just sort of grew, I would say, a small little movement, kind of an organic kind of thing. And with each passing year, we've seen more people get excited about being a part of something like that. And so this past year, we actually, back in June, we had an entire week where we had people coming in and out of our church. And we had over 100 volunteers. And they came, we actually did at least, I think, 23 different projects. And it ranged anywhere from, again, cleaning up sidewalks and garbage. We painted entire households this past year. We replaced a lady's house, her roof on her house. And just kind of whatever has come to us by word of mouth, if we're able to respond to it in a physical way and help it either be fixed or be improved in some regard, we've tried to respond and help them out.
So you're actually not only renewing souls, you're renewing the neighborhood.
Well, we're trying, but we think they go a lot hand in hand. As our souls are renewed, we live a different life, and that lets us make a difference in the places that we live.
And blight, this really does clean up blight in the neighborhood. I don't think about churches as cleaning up blight, but it really does, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, it makes a huge difference. You wouldn't think that literally cleaning up a small area would have that significant of an impact. But again, what we're finding, in addition to some of the areas looking nicer when we're finished, I think an even bigger thing is that as we're working on a certain area, we see the neighbors out looking at us and they're starting to ask questions and they're saying, what are you all doing and who are you and why are you here and who's making you be here? And when we say, well, we don't have to be here, this is something that we want to do, they tend to take an interest. And one of the most exciting things for us has been to watch those same neighbors as they're asking questions. In the days and weeks afterwards, you start to see them out and they're working on some of their own property issues or whatever the case may be, and the level of pride is increasing, and before you know it, what was begun with one property is spreading out to the neighboring properties, and suddenly a whole little area you're seeing some great improvement. So it's not just a physical thing. I think the attitudes of people are improving as well.
Matt, that's terrific. Are there some special people or special organizations that have helped you?
Well, I think for us, it's just really been such an organic thing. I mean, there's been certainly church volunteers, and we've had volunteers from a number of churches come and help us out. We've been really blessed here in the community. A number of the community leaders have been willing to say, we see what you're doing, go to it. We kind of give you our blessing on that. And so there's been different city councilmen that have helped us with that. The mayor's certainly been supportive in the past, and so we feel grateful that there's those kind of supportive individuals just saying, go to it. And then the real people that make a difference are those that just get out and do the serving. And we have a lot of different people, like I said, from a variety of churches, some of our neighbors in the community. All of those people have sort of come together and putting their best foot forward.
Now, I'm used to walking by churches and hearing the choir, and sometimes I meet the preachers at dinner, but your church has a website.
We do have a website, yes.
Tell us about the website and how that works.
Well, absolutely. I mean, our website, like any other place, you can go there and sort of check out what we're all about. For us, it's secondavumc.org. So you can go there and look, but we've got samples of some of the services that are on there. We try to give a pretty at least a brief description of some of these kinds of efforts that are going on. It's really important for us that as people in the community and as a church in the community, we are not there just for ourselves. We're strong believers that we're called to be there for other people. And so we do our best to serve them in a whole variety of ways. And so we certainly have the community restoration. We have an after-school program called The Rock. And kids who are in kindergarten through 12th grade are welcome to come in on Wednesday nights and come and be with us. We give them a hot meal. We develop mentor relationships with them. They're actually starting a second day during the week now in which we focus on tutoring with them. So as many ways as we can serve our community, that's what we're trying to do. And all of those kinds of things are on the website.
Secondavenue.org.
Second Ave UMC. So the number 2 ND
okay.
AVEUMC.org.
Write that down, folks, because you can volunteer and you can help.
Absolutely.
Tell me what kind of projects the volunteers work on specifically.
Absolutely. It's hard for us to say what kinds exactly we will do, because actually we take the requests of people that come to us. What we try to do is put out by word of mouth, and we even have a brief application in which we ask our neighbors or whoever to share those applications with others. What are your needs? And then they give those applications back to us. And so whatever the need is that's listed on the paper, we do our best to respond to. So again, it could be a simple cleanup project. It could be helping repair something in their house. It could be, like I said, this past year, we actually replaced a roof on a lady's house. We've done a lot of painting, and not just sort of the one floor stuff. I mean, 3 floors outside with the ladders and all those kinds of things. What we can't do at this point, we can't really do much in the way of plumbing or electrical, but just about anything else that really helps the appearance or fixes something or increases the value of the property, we do our best to respond to.
Wow, Matt, you must feel so gratified at the end of the day. Tell me about what this has meant to. You have a gymnasium in that church.
We do. It's old, but it works.
I used to play basketball there.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of people come through there.
Now I'm as big as a basketball. They won't let me on the floor. But tell me about what does that meant to the youth? You must talk to them. Has any of them ever came to you and said, Matt, thank you. You reached out to me.
Absolutely, sure. I mean, one of the things that's been really exciting for me as the pastor at 2nd Avenue, I can't tell you how many people have actually come to me and said, oh, during my childhood, I can't tell you how many hours I spent there in the gym or in the church or any of those kinds of things. But I think what's exciting for us is that as a people of faith, sometimes it's easy to think that our faith is sort of locked away or not relevant. And so for us, we've been so excited to see that in the year 2011, because of our faith, we feel like we do have something to say and that a true difference can be made. So when I see people come to us and they say a simple thank you, that you've made my home, my place, my city a better place to live, I mean, that's extremely gratifying for us. I mean, in fact, I don't know of anything much more exciting than that, when you can improve people's lives in that way. And again, for us, the genesis of that comes from our faith, and that it's a way to live it out and to make a difference in people's lives, and we love that.
Don't disappoint me, Matt. Tell me that the numbers of volunteers that you have are increasing and that people are responding to this.
Well, that's also been one of the most exciting things for us. Like I said, about 4 years ago when we started, I think we had all of 12 volunteers scattered throughout the week. And this past year, like I said, last summer, we had over 100 come and serve. And what we're really excited about this summer, we've been focusing on one primary week each summer. We already have 2 to 3 weeks planned for this upcoming summer. So we're hoping to go way beyond the 100 volunteers and just see what can happen. It's pretty exciting to see literally an army of 40, 50, 60, 70 people gather. We kind of all gather at the church each morning during our focus week, and you literally send them out the doors. And just watching what they do, kind of sending out a different kind of army, has really been a lot of fun. So yeah, we've seen a great increase, and we hope that just continues.
Matt, I'm going to philosophize here a little bit.
Okay.
My home, where I was raised, is not very far from where your church was. Mm-hmm. And I have watched that community have some problems.
Sure.
They've had drug problems. They've had problems with youth. In fact, my home church closed its church because they couldn't get the necessary support. And one of my criticisms of that church was that we were talking about missions and missionaries, but we weren't talking about the people next door. Mm. And it sounds like your church has taken on a mission of helping the neighborhood and eliminating blight and kind of giving people, putting a smile on their face. Could that be correct?
I think so. I mean, we're certainly trying to do that. And in a lot of ways, it's not rocket science. I mean, for us, again, as Christians, we're instructed to love our neighbors as ourselves. So that's really all we're trying to do. I mean, really that simple. And so for us, there's the great gift that when we walk out our door, we're surrounded by our neighbors. I mean, they're there. So our only task then is to serve them and to love them. And yeah, it has been a wonderful thing. One of the other things that we've been working on, we've started an outreach called the Hope Chest. And so once each quarter, we collect kids' clothing, and again, from age infancy all the way through 12th grade. And anybody's welcome to come in our doors, and we give them clothes for the upcoming season of the year. So in the fall, when we do this, and we have 100 to 250 people come, lining up at our door and come in, just being able to give them a warm coat that their kid is going to be able to have, for the upcoming winter, and to see the smile on their face and the thank yous that they offer. I mean, that's very rewarding for us and very exciting, again, as a simple way to love our neighbor and, again, to be relevant in the place that we live.
Oh, man. And are you reaching out? Are other churches saying, how can we duplicate this? What can we do? Tell me, is this spreading?
I think it is. We've been fortunate that a number of other church groups have joined with us in this endeavor. So we're either seeing a few other places say, how can we start this in their own local area? Or they've come to us and they say, we see what you're already doing. We want to be a part of that. How can we make a difference too? Because here in Altoona, there's a lot of different churches. We're all in the same community. And so it makes a lot of sense to be working together. And all of us have the same neighbors in a sense. And so we are certainly trying to do that.
We've been concentrating on Pastor Matt Lake and the Second Avenue Church, but what I'm hearing is that this is an effort that's spreading and should spread through all the communities, and I'm sure there are other churches that could come and tell us their stories, and certainly we want to wish them well and continue on their endeavors, but it's just great to hear a story that's
Thanks.
So enthusiastic, and you're a young, enthusiastic man.
Yeah.
Your energy is rubbing off on me. I feel
Okay.
younger already, folks. Tell me how you got started in this.
Well, yeah, that's a great question. When I was 14, actually, I had grown up in a church. And for me, honestly, I knew lots of stories about the faith, but I didn't really understand what it meant to live into that faith. And I was fortunate as a 14-year-old to have a group of youth and a pastor come into my life that really challenged me in a lot of ways. And once I understood the difference between sort of intellectual knowledge about faith and sort of living into that, it was like a light switch was flipped in my head. And I had the opportunity as a youth to do a lot of service and speak in a number of places. And I loved it. And I thought, if I could get paid even just the smallest amount and have the opportunity to live a life of trying to help others and see other people's lives be changed, man, sign me up. And so I've been blessed and fortunate to have that opportunity. My wife Jen and I and our kids, we've been here in Altoona now for about 10 years. And we love it. We love the people. We love the community. We love the opportunities to hopefully make a difference. And there's a lot of places where you don't get the support that we've received here. And we certainly don't take that for granted. So we're excited to be here.
Where's your hometown, man?
Actually, I grew in Pennsylvania Furnace, about 20 miles outside, or 20 minutes outside of State College.
Right.
And we're fortunate. My parents are only about 40 minutes away, so we get to go and be there pretty frequently.
That's wonderful. If you're a young person watching this show, You don't have to join a gang to have fellowship and friendship. What we're hearing from Pastor Lake is that you can participate in activities, and I'm assuming that you don't have to be a member of the church.
Oh,
to
absolutely
do this.
not. No, anybody can come and be a part of it, and I mean, everyone has the opportunity to make a difference, and we invite that opportunity.
That's terrific, and they can help financially and physically and maybe morally.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a whole variety of ways. The biggest one is probably just to show up and say, here are my helping hands. Show me what direction you want me to go, and point me in that direction and let me go to it. So that's probably the biggest one. Another one would be word of mouth, to invite other volunteers. But also, we're always on the lookout to want to reach our neighbors. And so if you know of a particular neighbor in need, we're always looking, please put us in contact with them so that we can go and see what their needs are and see if we can possibly help. Certainly monetary donations are always helpful, but even if people are out and you see paintbrushes are on sale, pick up a few. Any kind of supply like that we could use. We kind of hold on to those, and then when we're serving our neighbors and painting and rebuilding things, we can use any of those types of supplies. So all of those are great ways to help.
Seasonal clothing for children.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, what a magnificent idea, and how necessary. And I'm sure there's a lot of little smiling faces when those clothes are distributed.
Well, it's a lot of fun. I mean, you see the parents walking around, and they're literally kind of doing some shopping, and then some of the rest of us get to sit on the floor with their kids while they're kind of shopping, and it's just a lot of fun and a neat way to see people's lives again be changed.
I've just had the most fascinating conversation with Pastor Matt Lake of the 2nd Avenue United Methodist Church. And Matt, I wish you the greatest success. Thank you for being who you are and where you are.
Thank you.
You're
Glad to be
man.
here. Thank you so much.
Some banks say they're part of the community. Mainline National Bank helps build it, volunteering, financing homes and business, being there for our neighbors when they need us. Since 1944, it's what we do. Since 2007, Operation Our Town has helped to reduce drugs and crime in our neighborhoods. Operation Our Town was founded to combat a deteriorating community riddled with drugs and resulting crime. It was believed that if the citizenry worked together to improve our community, we could literally take back our neighborhoods. Our mission: to facilitate partnerships between the community and business to fight drug use and crime through proven law enforcement, treatment, and prevention techniques. Efforts are designed to help strengthen existing organizations within our community so that they may serve and accomplish more. From 2007 through 2010, Operation Our Town raised over $2 million from area businesses, organizations, individuals, and federal grants. Over $1.5 million were distributed to local law enforcement treatment and prevention programs. Since 2007, drug arrests increased by 30%. Calls to push out the pusher increased 47%. Drug overdoses have declined by 41%. Everyone in the community is affected by drugs and crime, but maybe no other group is affected more than our children. We must keep our neighborhoods safe and lead by example to show them there are alternatives. Mainline National Bank believes we have a community worth preserving for our children's future. Mainline National Bank encourages you to take back our neighborhoods. Go to wearecentralpa.com and click Operation Our Town to learn more.
I'm here with Dana Dodson, an AmeriCorps volunteer with the Family Resource Center, the United Way of Blair County. Dana, congratulations. Welcome for being here.
Good morning.
Tell me what you do with it. What is this United American Resource Center?
Well, the Family Resource Center is an organization that helps parents with younger children. And then I also work for the United Way, which also funds nonprofit organizations, as an AmeriCorps volunteer, which means I go in as a volunteer and give them my time, and then they help me with my schooling.
Terrific. And that schooling includes?
Anything after college.
After college. So you already have a degree?
Yes.
And I understand you work with gardens?
Yes, I do.
Is that a degree in horticulture?
Actually, my degree is in criminal justice.
Okay.
So as far as the gardening part, I'm learning as I go. And what we have done is we are expanding on a new project from last year that Casey Van Ness, which she was also an AmeriCorps volunteer, and she started a community garden. And what we're doing this year is we are continuing the project, and then we are also expanding on that project and adding a children's aspect to the project.
Where is this garden?
It's actually located on 7th Avenue in Altoona, and what we're doing there is we took a Blight property and we changed it into a garden. What we did was we added boxes, and we filled those boxes with all different kinds of vegetables.
Wow, who's involved in a project like this?
We actually have a committee that is from the community, and then we also take in volunteers from the actual neighborhood around the garden. And what we do is we ask them to come out and volunteer their time and do anything from watering the plants, harvesting the vegetables, and they also can come out too and take whatever they'd like from the property as far as vegetables go. And what we do with the rest of the vegetables, we take to local food banks.
That's outstanding. So neighbors come, participate in the growing process.
Yes.
You've taken a blighted property and turned it into a garden, a community garden.
Yes.
And they can, what if there's vegetables or fruits left? What happens to that?
We take those vegetables and fruits down to the local food banks, and we give them the opportunity to make actual fresh food from the vegetables that we produce, which is great for them because it's a different turn on the fact that they usually end up getting canned foods. So this is their opportunity to provide the community with fresh food.
Are there plans for additional gardens?
Yes, we actually would like to expand this year. This will be my year to expand on the project that Casey started. And what we're going to do is we're going to take another Blight property and we're going to turn it into a community garden. And we're going to take volunteers from that neighborhood and use for that garden.
Wow, I guess it's a little easier now that you have an example to show people of what it's going
Casey
to be.
really did have her work cut out for her when she did start this project.
Tell us about that process of starting, saying to the neighbor next door to the garden, hey, we're going to put a garden next to your house and we're going to come here and till the weeds. And how did you go about this?
You know, it was very much of a process in figuring out what we needed to do and where we needed to start. Because not only do you have to figure out how to put and buy the land, but you also have to kind of decide, well, how are we going to get water to this land? Which was a big problem that we had, was the watering aspect of it, which we did bring in rain barrels. And we actually used rain barrels to water the garden that we had there. We also had to think about, well, who's going to pick the products that we produce, and the steps finding the materials and the volunteers. So she really had a long process to figure out how she was going to develop the garden.
But it worked.
It worked. And in the end, the community was very receptive to it.
Is that right? Wonderful.
Yes.
Not just the local neighbors, but you mean the entire community?
Entire community, yes. Most of the volunteers that we have are actually members of different agencies within the community and organizations. So they're not actually really local neighbors of that particular property. They are actually all throughout the community.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I can't wait to tell my Weight Watcher group. They'll be interested in that garden.
Most definitely. And also, too, what we're planning on this year is to do workshops so that we want to let the community know what is available to them by starting a garden. What recipes they can use for fresh foods. We're going to do a workshop on canning. We're also doing, like I said, the children's aspect to the garden. So we're going to have children come out and take part in the garden, which is going to be really great.
So let me see if I understand the total concept here. If I'm sitting in my living room looking across the street or beside me, and I have a lot there that constantly collects trash and paper bags or plastic bags, and I'm concerned about this blight in my neighborhood.
Yes.
I could contact you, Dana Dodson.
Yes.
At the Resource Center and you would help me to organize and maybe put a community garden or a neighborhood garden on that lot.
Most definitely. That's what we did with this lot, the first lot that we started. It was just an empty property. We came in, we put boxes on the lot, we filled those boxes with dirt, and beautiful plants came about.
And if I owned the lot, I could volunteer to let you do
Yes.
this on my lot, and you wouldn't even have the initial cost of purchasing the ground.
Most definitely,
And
yes.
it would get the neighbors off my back for cleaning it up all the time.
Yes.
I mean, let's be serious here. There's,
And it would
there's
help out
something
it.
in this for everybody.
Yes, and it's helping a lot of your neighbors by donating that property, because not only does it help that particular person clean up the blight, but it also helps the community in feeding the neighbors by providing them with fresh food.
That's terrific, Dana. What a wonderful idea. So
Thank
we're
you.
going to not only take care of blight, we're going to help with hunger problems,
Right.
nutritional problems,
Yes.
maybe give young people something to be interested in and watch things grow.
Yes.
That's terrific. What a great concept. And this comes out of the Family Resource Center.
Right, the
and-
Family Resource Center.
And you volunteer, basically a volunteer for this, and do that. Do you do anything else with the Family Resource Center?
I do a lot of projects with the Family Resource Center. The Family Resource Center and the United Way are both very much about helping the community. So my part in those areas are going out and bringing in volunteers for the projects that we're doing. So we do a lot of projects.
Now, is this also the group that runs our like shelters and things? Is that part of their? Tell me what all they do.
Well, right now, as far as what I'm working on, we actually worked on the Toasty Toddlers, which we provided coats to children under the age of 4. And then we also did a project, and what we're working on right now is our prom gown giveaway. And that's actually to help girls in the Blair County area with the expenses of prom.
Wow, I'm kind of familiar with Family Resources because I was in the banking business, and I saw the devastation caused when families can't afford to do things for their children.
Right.
Sometimes they can't afford to pay their bills. And in fact, we discovered that like 60% of all divorces had somewhere in the root cause financial problems. And the Family Resource Center stepped forward and helped so many of these people. This has to be a very gratifying experience for you. Is this what you intended to do when you were going to college?
No, actually, this is not what I intended to do. I actually wanted to go into the prisons and work as a counselor. However, through my life, I had a little bit of a change and decided that I still wanted to do the helping other aspect. So I decided to go into basically helping children and helping them develop and be educated.
Wow, that's one. Can you help me get smarter? But that's a terrific, what a challenge. And so you just realized this was more gratifying than what
Right.
you thought you wanted to do, and not necessarily but better for you.
Right.
And the people you've associated with, has it been a learning experience for you?
Most definitely. I've learned so much within the short period of time that I've been with the Family Resource Center that I can take with me for the rest of my life.
Oh my. Now, Dana, if somebody wanted to get involved in this, how would they do that specifically? If I had a lot today and I said, I'd like these people to put something on there, who would I call? How would I get in touch with your organization?
You can actually call me at the Family Resource Center.
Okay.
And we also have a page where you can go and take a look at all the things we do and what we're involved with. And
Now stop. I want to get your pencil and paper, folks, because we're going to give you the phone number and the address where you can get in touch. And it sounds like to me this is an important opportunity for a lot of communities, a lot of neighborhoods that may want to get involved. So now we've given them a second to get their pencil and paper.
Okay.
Now you can tell us where to get in touch with your group.
you can actually contact me. It's 941-7711.
Say it again.
941-7711.
Okay. And on the web?
And you actually can go under UnitedWayofBlairCounty.org.
And it's Dana Dodson. She's being very humble here, but she's doing a really terrific job. Tell me what you want to see in the future. What do you want to see happen with your career and with this type of thing?
Well, I want to continue helping others. I really enjoy it, and with the experience that I'm getting from the Family Resource Center, I've expanded on getting out there into the community and seeing how important it is to help others, especially now in the times that we do need so much help. And what I think with this project and continuing these projects is I think that it's time for the community to come out and join together and help each other.
Dana, you're realizing this at a very young age. Some of us, it took a long time to realize that we really are not independent beings. We're part of a community.
Right.
And that's wonderful. Tell me, in these gardens, we're talking about blight, and earlier we talked about gangs and things that, do you ever have a problem with the vandalism or people doing things? Is that right?
No, we actually have, well, we have the boxes on the property. We had the rain barrels on the property, and we also have a sign on the property. And I think that that was one of the main concerns for the people within the area, that it would draw attention to vandalism. However, it did not.
That's wonderful. So the neighbors this is like a neighborhood watch. They take care of it.
Yes, yes. They've taken definite ownership of it.
I'll tell you what, I am so impressed with what you're doing in this organization and what's happening in this community. You told me it was on 7th Avenue. Is this like a secret site? Could you tell me what street it's on to?
It's 830 7th Avenue. It's a corner lot.
That'd be 9th Street and 7th Avenue? And that's one, I'm going to drive by there and just take a look at it because I'm so curious. And you've got to be proud. Do you ever just stand out in front of the fence and wave to people going by and say, I did this, I did this? Yeah. How about the neighbors? Do you see fellowship coming out of this? Maybe some neighbors getting to know some other neighbors?
Yes, actually we have. It was interesting because I kind of came in at the end of the year last year, so I didn't get to see the whole process. However, when I did go over and got a chance to kind of pick with the neighbors some of the vegetables that were on the property, I got to meet a lot of people that came out and kind of took ownership of the land and talked with each other and communicated, and I'm sure that if that garden wasn't there, they wouldn't have came out.
I have a feeling our prior two guests, Randy and Matt, have been listening to this with some intent. I thank you very much, Dana. It's been a pleasure and a privilege talking to you, and good luck.
Thank you.
Some banks say they're part of the community. Mainline National Bank helps build it. Volunteering, financing homes and business, being there for our neighbors when they need us. Since 1944, it's what we do. Operation Our Town has helped to reduce drugs and crime in our community. Mainline National Bank encourages you to take back our neighborhoods. Go to wearecentralpa.com and click Operation Our Town to learn more.
I've been joined by our guests, Randy Feathers, Dana Dodson, and Matt Lake. Welcome back, each of you.
Thank you.
We've had some very interesting discussions here this morning. This is a great group of people, and it's a privilege for me to be here with you. Randy, is there anything you would like to see happening in the community that's not happening now?
Well, I think this community has got it right, but the key is to continue to get it right. I mean, we can't back away from what we're doing. We need to keep going forward and keep organizations like Operation Our Town progressive.
Okay, Dana, how about you?
I think that I would just definitely like to see a lot more of the community come out and get involved. It's so easy to volunteer. There's always an agency or an organization that would love to have them come out and volunteer.
Okay, Matt, how about you? Should I call you Reverend Matt? I just feel guilty calling you without giving you the respect.
Matt works fine. I appreciate that. Thank you. I think for me, probably just continued cooperation among sort of all the groups in our community. I mean, we have a tremendous opportunity before us, bringing our different resources together to make a difference where we are. And I think that's one of the wonderful gifts that Operation Our Town provides. It's sort of that umbrella that brings so many different groups together in a commonality of purpose. And I think if that can continue, we have a real opportunity to make a huge difference.
The synergy here gardens, community center, outreach from the church, clothing for young people. What a terrific group effort. No wonder we're proud of this community. And things can happen. Now, I want to also say that several weeks ago, we talked to a lady from Contact Altoona. So if all else fails in your communications process, call Contact Altoona and they can communicate with any one of these people. Tell me what your plans are for the future, Randy. What do you want to see happen?
Well, our group, we're real excited. Like I said, in probably around June, we're going to announce our next project, and we're going to keep going forward. And we're real excited about that. It's going to be a lot of work, but I have a lot of good workers.
You do have good workers.
Absolutely.
Dawn Witherspoon has done a wonderful job in this community. He's a fine man. And Dana, how about you?
I think what we want to do is we're going to continue to expand the gardens. We want to add gardens wherever we can in Altoona. And I work with a wonderful group of people, and they are so willing to go out there and help the community start gardens wherever.
How many people are involved in this Family Resource Center, approximately?
We have a committee for just the garden itself.
Okay.
And on that committee, we have approximately about 15 members.
Wow. Local business people?
Local
community
business people that come out and take care of the garden all summer long.
How about the organization Family Resources? How many people do they have?
We have, within the Family Resource Center, as actual staff members, we are very limited. We have a small group of great people that work together to support the community.
They must be doing good work, because I thought it was a large staff. I mean, they seem to be in a lot of different places. How about you, Matt? How about the future for that area and that community?
So far, most of the community restoration work we've done has been primarily limited to the summer for a variety of reasons. We would love to see that expand throughout the entire summer and even into other parts of the year, and have it be more of a year-round effort that, you know, people's needs are sort of year-round, so we would like to get to that level. In addition, we're working primarily in the area around 2nd Avenue and 2nd Street. We'd love to just keep expanding out from that as we encounter the needs that are there.
And Operation Our Town has helped you with those projects?
They've been wonderful, especially for us with the ROC, the after-school program for youth in our community. They've been essential to some of the work going on there, and we're extremely grateful.
Wow. And how about you, Dana? Operation Our Town, what have they meant to you?
It's very appreciative of Operation Our Town. We actually have the opportunity to use the resources from Operation Our Town to begin to expand our project.
Randy, your experience in 15 communities, did you say? 15, it's been terrific. And how about you? What have you seen from Operation Our Town with your efforts?
Operation Our Town is, law enforcement-wise, it's been the biggest thing I've ever seen in 30 years. For my particular group, Booker T. Washington, we were not able to take one step without them. We couldn't have got started without them.
That's terrific. Every community benefiting. I wish that we could line up behind us sometime in one of these shows all the individuals and businesses who have supported these efforts and just stand and give them a standing ovation for their efforts. And we've talked about their names on several different occasions, but I encourage you, if you're a business, I know that you have to be careful with expenditures, and I know there's a lot of demands on your contributions and your time and your efforts, but Operation Our Town seems to be reaching out to an umbrella of organizations that touches every aspect of our life. And I wish I knew whose idea it was to start Operation Our Town. Everything germinates from one idea, but the fact that it's grown to these proportions, how many young people, just a rough estimate, how many young people do you think your group touches? No, not young people. How many people does your efforts touch?
That's a great question. I mean,
thousands?
I don't know. Well, I think till you include youth and their families and extended families and their neighbors and all of those individuals, then I think indirectly or directly, yes, we get to that level.
Matt is being very humble, but I'm sure it's thousands, and not just in the direct efforts, but I heard about your church from a third party and the efforts that you're doing.
Wow.
And so, it's a ripple effect.
It is a ripple effect.
And Dana, how about you?
Wow.
How many people do you think you've touched with the garden so far?
With the garden, tons, because there's all different kinds of aspects that we are using the community for and providing to the community. So there's many people that we touch.
So not just the next door neighbor.
No.
Everybody. And Randy, how about the Booker T. Washington Center?
Well, it's tough to say. I mean, like the pastor said it indirectly. I mean, you're talking thousands, and you know, like Booker T. Washington. If we can, and same with the pastor. I mean, if we can just save one kid, one child, one youth, I mean, what's that worth? I mean, and surely our projects have done that.
You know, I am so proud of your efforts up there. You know, like I said, we grew up with Booker T. Washington. Even if we weren't in that neighborhood, we grew up with that neighborhood influence. We were friends with the people that lived in that neighborhood, and they were our friends. And now they have children in that community, and we see these children coming together, and they're seeing this example. And is there any specific example? Matt, can you give us any specific example, one person who said, you know, thank you?
Absolutely. I mean, we have received letters at the church specifically outlining for us what assistance to them has meant. And I think one of the unique parts of what we're trying to do is to meet a unique need, meaning there are other groups in town that do a wonderful job with building homes from scratch, or getting rid of homes completely, or in making an area more beautiful. But for us, a lot of people are stuck in the middle of having a property that they can't totally get rid of or feel like they can afford to fix it up. And so we've gotten a lot of letters just saying thank you for that and the difference that has made. The other thing that has been wonderful for us are some of the youth that have come through our doors and seeing where they're at now. And one in particular is a senior in college right now, and has come back to us numerous times and just said, thank you for investing in me. And now watching her getting ready to graduate from college, I mean, it's a real gift.
Wow. As I've gotten older, I have realized something I never thought I would realize, that my property has become a little bit of a burden. I can't climb up on ladders anymore. I can't do the things I used to do. And it's also a little bit of embarrassment to admit that I can't do this. I have to have somebody do it. So I can just imagine how grateful a neighbor would be if you would come and say, can I fix your little spouting, or can I do something for you?
Right.
That's wonderful. Dana, how about you?
I think the local food banks have been the most appreciative because, like I said before, they very rarely get fresh food. And so this is their opportunity to expand on their cooking experience and also to provide fresh items for the community members.
We take it for granted, don't we? I have this, and so I think everybody has it.
Right.
And I guess what we really need is love. Randy, how about you?
A lot of the local neighbors up in that community, that whole area's been changed, and they're going to be changing again by June. That was their home. They're very proud of that neighborhood, and we were able to give back to them.
Would you pass my thanks on to Dawn and Charlie and Hank Lee and tell them if they ever want to get a basketball game for guys over 60?
Boy. You know what? Hank can still play.
I know he's
I don't know about
play.
Don. Don talks a good game.
He's still play.
Hank can still play.
Let me tell you what. This is a great place to live, and each of you have done your part to make it an even greater place to live. From my heart, I thank you each, and I thank Operation Our Town for the support, bringing you together. This is a great place. Altoona forever. How's that sound? That could be our new motto. Altoona forever. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and I solicit once again your support for Operation Our Town, a special group of people doing a special job in a special place. Thank you.